It's just my opinion, but Donnie Darko wasn't that good. Now, it's true that Donnie Darko, when it first came out, wasn't successful, but it has since come up with a big cult following, and I don't think that it deserves it. It's thought of as some sort of indie artistic masterpiece, but in reality, it's just a faux deep faker with little depth to it at all. If it was really that good and the writer was such a genius, why has he made literally nothing else remotely good? You see it all the time with directors who luck their ways into making one good movie. They then release a string of horrible movies and everybody realizes, oh wait, the first one actually wasn't really that good to begin with, a la M. Night Shyamalan. But if you listen to the characters in this movie, you would have no idea that nobody involved with this movie was smart at all, because they really want you to know they're so smart. The writer is living out some sort of fantasy of being a misunderstood genius where everybody is so in awe of him, and he's just an outcast because he's too smart for the rest of them. Because just like Donnie, he says brilliant things like,
Papa Smurf didn't create Smurfette, Gargamel did. She was sent in as Gargamel's evil spy with the intention of destroying the Smurf village, but the overwhelming goodness of the Smurf way of life transformed her. And as for the whole gangbang scenario, it just couldn't happen. Smurfs are asexual. They don't even have reproductive organs under those little white pants. This was so illogical, you know, about being a Smurf. You know, what's the point of living if you don't have a dick?
Damn it, Donnie. Why do you gotta get so smart on us?
why you gotta be so smart, Donnie? God, I remember my friends saying that to me all the time as a child growing up. Just, why you gotta be so smart? Talking about the Smurfs. What? And that's just the beginning of the dialogue in this movie. The dialogue sucks.
I like your boobs.
I like your boobs. Those bullies, oh. Worst bullies I've ever met. What boobs, by the way?
You're such a fuck ass.
What?
Please.
Did you just call me a fuck ass?
Elizabeth, that's enough.
You can go suck a fuck.
Oh, please tell me, Elizabeth, how exactly does one suck a fuck?
Writing. It's hard sometimes. This movie really is for teenagers who haven't seen any deep or complicated stories yet, and this comes across as really deep and smart because they don't have anything to compare it to, but it's just faux deep and not that great. Yes, I understood the ending. It wasn't complicated. It was just stupid. Not to mention, this movie is essentially just a Stephen King ripoff. They pretty much follow every step. Don't believe me? Let's play the Stephen King drinking game. Take a shot if there's an unexplained supernatural force without justification for its existence. The antagonist lacks any redeeming qualities. All religious people are evil and sexually perverted. There is a reference to a previous Stephen King work. Over-the-top bullies. Having clues or references to a deeper meaning that have no meaning in the original situation they're placed in. A great premise ultimately fouled up by a horrible, stupid, convoluted ending. Yeah. You're drunk. Oh, and this one wasn't actually in the drinking game list, but can we add that they've got horrible CGI effects that don't hold up at all? I understand that this movie's a little old, so not all the effects are gonna hold up, but did they really have to create their own thumbnail for their pitch meeting? And lastly, let's just get to the plot of this movie, because no, it doesn't make any sense. So in case you don't get the plot, or you don't believe that I fully understand the plot, let's go over it real quick. Donnie Darko is a troubled youth who lives with his family. One night he's told to wake up by a mysterious voice that leads him out of the house and to a golf field where he meets Harvey. Oh wait, that's not his name, it's Frank. Sorry, my bad, wrong giant rabbit. Because he's no longer in the house, he's able to avoid death because a jet engine actually falls into his room while he's away. This begins a long trail of supernatural activity as Harvey tells him what to do and what not to do. He's able to use his supernatural powers for both good and bad and ultimately can decide fate. We come to the end of the movie where there's a rip in the space-time continuum. A passing jet gets caught in it, the engine gets ripped off of it, and it lands back in the house. Back in time where the movie started. Now Donnie has the choice to either continue on in this alternate timeline or go back in time and allow himself to be killed. He has to weigh the consequences of both things, decides to let himself die, and does. And that's cool and all because it's a moral decision of, well, do I want to die and help save these other people from dying, mainly his girlfriend, or do I want to allow the world to go on as it is, broken and depraved? And also in the extended cut, it does explain a little bit more about how the world probably would have just collapsed in on itself if it had continued in that timeline, but irrelevant. My main question is, how does any of this make sense, and what does any of it mean? So ultimately, we have two timelines. We have the one where he dies and the one where he survives. Now, him surviving isn't supposed to happen because reasons. Supernatural influences allowed him to survive, and they shouldn't have. So now he has to go back and let himself die. So why did the supernatural influences influence him? Why him also? Just because he's the main character? Just because the writer wanted to make him the center of the universe? Why save the character just to say, hey, you have to go back and kill yourself? Why is the person that tells him all these things, Harvey the rabbit, actually Frank the boy, who is dead in the alternate timeline? So the person that goes back to save him is only dead because he was saved. The alternate timeline was created by somebody from the alternate timeline coming back to the actual timeline. He would have no reason to come back if the alternate timeline didn't exist. Okay, I get that paradoxes don't make sense. By definition, it's a paradox. But why would that happen? That's not how time travel works. And also, why is a dead person the one warning him? What? If it's supernatural force, you'd think, oh, so the supernatural being will do it. No, it's a dead teenager in a bunny costume. Obviously, it just doesn't make any sense. And trust me, I've researched this movie a lot. It's not smart, it's stupid. You create a paradox that's completely unnecessary. Why would it happen? Why would it happen? Why would somebody save him just to go, oopsies, you have to die now? I get the storyline, I get it. It's a question of morality, it's a savior complex thing, it's all of that, it's a time paradox, it's light sci-fi with a little bit of fantasy, but it's just dumb. It's dumb. And I'll admit, there are some cool things about this movie, there really are, but it's easily outweighed by the horrible, hokey acting, the pretentiousness of the plot, and the million zillion plot holes that just don't add up or make sense in any way. Jake Gyllenhaal was awesome, he always is. The bunny costume was really cool, I like that character a lot. The idea of this story is somewhat interesting, so you really have to just weigh your options about this movie. There's a line you have to draw where you ask yourself, what am I willing to put up with to enjoy an interesting idea? And believe me, there's several movies that I enjoy simply based on the idea rather than the execution. How much of a bad movie are you willing to put up with just for an idea? To me, this crosses the line. There's too much to put up with. I can't enjoy this movie. This movie's just baby's first deep movie. Hashtag deep. I understand the appeal of this movie, but if you're not a teenager, you don't have nostalgia influencing your opinion, and you're coming now as an adult who can actually think for themselves watching this for the first time, you're not gonna enjoy it. But that's just my opinion. My unpopular opinion. And every film buff is like, you're wrong! And I'm like, why are you an old man? Why'd you sound like that? Thank you for watching. Please, if you like the video, like it and share it and subscribe. I can't grow this channel without you guys, so thanks for watching. Bye.
I like your boobs.